What was a good memory you had when you were in school? My third grade class had a reading loft. It was a pretty good sized fort, probably taking up 1/3 of the classroom. Covered in carpet and had lots of cool places to hang out if you wanted to read. The teacher incentivized us to finish work early so we could grab a book and head to the reading loft, so we didn't have to hang out at our desks being bored. When I was in second grade, I got bullied because my whole family was deaf. One kid kept picking on me every day. Well, one day he came up to me and started screaming, saying, "Can your mom hear me?" And this tall girl stepped in and punched him in the face. She got suspended, but no one ever made fun of me again. We became best friends after that. In third grade, it was some reading appreciation week, and we decided as a class to visit a cemetery. Granted, it's a pretty famous cemetery with a couple of really important people buried there. And we had a scavenger hunt to find them. Along with like the oldest grave we could find. The biggest. And we had to make a rubbing of one of our choosing. As a strange child, it was the best field trip I had ever been on. A math teacher paused a class because he got a message from his brother. His brother met a girl at a party and had a crush on her. But he found a week later that she was lesbian and got a heartbreak. He went outside to call his brother and came back and told us the story. I was always a shy introvert, and when I went off to high school I made it a goal to do one thing during my 4 years there that would force me out of my comfort zone. I ended up trying out for the cheerleading team. I was definitely not the type to get up in front of a crowd and cheer. The tryouts involved performing a personally choreographed dance, which was no issue as I had some dance background. They allowed those who wanted to try out to perform their dances in groups. But since I had no friends, I did it alone. I was so damn nervous, but I did it and I made the team. The rest of my high school experience pretty much sucked, but that one thing made me really proud of myself. Every Scholastic Book Fair in elementary school. In high school we had a group project, and this class was 90% girls, so the other 10% guys, including me, were in a group. This teacher used to kinda gang up on us with the girls, and one day she was preoccupied and we were talking about how we didn't want to be there and we should just jump out the window. This one guy scopes out the window, sticks his feet out first, give us a wink and just jumps out. Dropped probably 7 to 10 feet onto the grass and just waltzes back into class like he just came from the bathroom or something. Teacher didn't even notice. Every morning my teacher will ask us questions about history. If we get it right he would give us a Snicker bar. But this the funny part. He would throw the Snickers bar at us real hard. So if get the question right you would had to dodge the fast moving Snickers. Watching my mother rip the principal a new one because a typing teacher failed me for poor posture despite my having 100% on every assignment plus bonus marks. Mom ranked up that day. I was a terrible student and a huge baseball fan growing up. In 6th grade one had an English teacher who knew I wasn't dumb. Just hard to motivate. She privately offered me an extra credit assignment. All I had to do was write a 2-page essay on any topic I liked at all explaining why I liked it so much. I straight up turned down her offer, being content with my C grade. So she flipped it around on me and publicly told another guy in my class that since he was the biggest Red Sox fan in the class, he should write a 2-page essay about the Red Sox and present it to the class. I practically jumped out of my seat and said I was a way bigger Red Sox fan than Mike and I should be the one writing that essay. She let us both write one. She was a really good teacher. I received my crush's love letter. One of my math teachers in high school was a bit on the crazy side in a very good way. He'd scoot around the room on his desk chair, rolling over backpacks and the like. He'd punctuate talks with weird sayings like, but, he said, which is tub spelled backwards. He generally made the class time entertaining for everyone. One day, he decided to show us the derivation of a mathematical formula. Nowadays, showing this particular formulation to a bunch of high school students would likely get him kicked out. I don't remember the exact derivation, but the end result was the integral of e to the x power equals some function of u to the nth power. Written out, it looks like this: sex equals f u n. Yes. He went through a whole mathematical derivation just to tell a group of high school students. Sex equals fun. Watching my stepdad call the principal of my school in 4th grade out on his bullshit right in front of me. because it was the first time I had a father figure in my life who cared enough about me to stand up for me. I got bullied a lot in middle school. One day in math I'd just been overwhelmed and couldn't take any more, so I called my dad and begged him to pick me up. He told me I'd be alright and just ignore it. 20 minutes later I got called to the office for checkout and he took me to get my favorite food and spent the afternoon in the park with me. Rip old man. That was one of the best days of my entire life. Slowly hiding all of the textbooks in the ceiling in my carpentry class over the course of the semester till they were all gone. Skipping out on a Monday to drive to the city 5 hours away to see Iron Maiden in concert. December 1984. In 4th grade one of my teachers told me I had a nice smile. That was the first compliment I remember ever having. The one time in 4th grade when I managed to beat up the big bully in my classroom. Approaching my crush and saying, "Hi." Only to be branded as a weirdo. Shit makes me laugh still. 2nd semester junior year, springtime, just setting in a new group of guys became a part of our family. We were busy every day hanging out and partying at the house, and the girls we were talking to all loved us. Good times. The only physical altercation of my entire high school career. Back in school, the drama kids and the debate kids were under the same teacher thanks to forensics. Now forensics was not the CSI kind, but an after-school activity that effectively turned drama and debate into a sporting event with several out-of-town competition trips. One of the debate kids stood out. A fantastic and forceful debater who, even as a freshman, had netted several debate awards that year. Those same traits made him quite unpopular in the group, as he had a habit of acting argumentative and combative to pretty much everyone else. On top of that, his dad was the school superintendent, which led to a sense of entitlement that quickly diminished his popularity among the rest of the drama debate crowd. So when the school play came around that spring, the drama debate group separated cleanly into 2 groups. The actors were all drama kids and the backstage and technical crew were all debate kids. I had found myself running the sound and light booth at the front of our auditorium and had promised our teacher I would take great care with our newfangled lighting system that had just been installed that year. During one of our last rehearsals, superintendent's kid decided that he now required access to the lighting booth. As I'm waiting out the rehearsal in that booth playing Magic: The Gathering, as 90s kids do, with our soundboard guy, superintendent's kid rushes into the booth and starts twisting around knobs and pressing buttons on both the sound and light board for what I assume is his own amusement. I am not amused. I levy an angry, "You need to leave this booth. You are not supposed to be in here." At him. He responds with disdain, telling me that he can do what he wants and I can't make him leave. I repeat my command, with a reminder that the teacher had decreed that only a couple of people are allowed in the booth. And he is definitely not one of them. In retrospect, I suspect his attitude was a result of being told that he couldn't do something, in this case being in the booth, and deciding that he needed to be in there anyways. Had he come in and not molested the sound and light boards, then he probably could have just come in and hung out without incident. Instead, he bristled at my order to leave and sprung onto my magic card deck, picking it up and threatening to bend my cards if I made him leave. A momentary stare down ensued. I ran my options through my head. Go get our teacher. Nope. He'd damage my cards, which included some pricey stuff for the time. Let him stay. No. He'd hold my cards for ransom and probably get mad and bend them up anyways. Instead, I chose to do the one thing I had never done in my life up until that point. I chose violence. In a quick snap I snatched my deck back from his hand with my left hand, grabbed him by his hair with my right, and quickly pushed him out of the door and into the auditorium. I then shut the door and locked it with a warning that only authorized students could enter. As I watched him sniffle down the auditorium aisle towards our teacher, I felt an instant pang of remorse and figured for sure I would be in trouble. And doubly so since it was superintendent's kid. Instead, I watched as our teacher waved him off, tears in his eyes, along with a warning that he wasn't allowed to be in the booth. And so here is where the good memory begins, knowing that I didn't so much as get away with it. Because let's be real, the violent part was a pretty poor choice on my end. But by showing this kid that his entitlement really did have limits. For the rest of our production, he stuck to his backstage role and I never had any further negative interactions with him. I'm happy to report that kid is now our current Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Going to an inter-school sports competition. Our school would participate every year and we would come last without fail. I took part for 8 years during which we never won anything. Just got a participation certificate. While going to the competition we would play games on the bus. Listen to songs. Eat at fast food joints. Looking back, I don't remember the many losses that our team endured, but the time that we spent together is still crystal clear. It was never about the destination. It is all about the sweet journey. Going home.